So, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Guru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you for everyone who's joined us online, and thank you for all those that are joining us offline. The nature of the mind and how the nature of the mind, there are some things that are destructive to us. There are some things that have some kind of a limitation, right? So the sense of self is always on a default position of self-preservation, always self-preservation, self-preservation. And what that means is that it runs towards those things it finds comforting and provides it with away from those things that provide it with any fear, provide it with any threat or any concern where the sense of self is under threat. And this tends to happen simply because there's a level of ignorance, vidya, we would call, that exists, but it doesn't exist as well. It's like darkness. Darkness exists, yet you can't kind of grab it, you can't put it into a bag and can't transport it. It's simply the absence of light. So ignorance is the absence of knowing. So if we don't know something, we also know that we don't know something. While we know something, ignorance exists. The moment we know something, ignorance dissolves. So this sense of self is cloak of ignorance, of not knowing its own functionality, not knowing how it seems to be shifting from one position to another. Now, this sense of self then gives rise to a number of other things. And the first thing it gives rise to is attachment. So anything that provides it with a sense of security, it will get attached to it. Anything that it finds that provides it with a sense of threat, it will try and detach from it. But the very idea of trying to run away from something is like not trying to think of pink monkeys or trying to run away from yourself. So it doesn't really work. So it's attachment on both sides. Attachment towards those things that you are provide you with the ignorant understanding of the sense of self, away from that which provides it with any threat or any fear. This attachment then becomes our infatuation. So, whatever you're attached to will become an infatuation. And this infatuation doesn't have a limit. So, infatuation doesn't have a limit. And there are five characteristics of the sense of self we can observe. Attachment being one, infatuation being the other. And infatuation, I would also um, use the word greed. So infatuation and greed are same in my context at this stage. Anger, craving, and the sense of I am, whatever I am. Of whatever I am. So while anger will have a limit, so and then we can play with the resentment for a while, but anger itself doesn't last for very long. On the other side, craving, when you are craving, when you are seeking gratification, you're seeking gratification for a substance, you're seeking gratification with a person, what, etc., etc. Even that has a limit, so you can, I don't know, say you are craving chocolate. As soon as you have that chocolate, that craving seems to diminish. So it has a limit. Anger has a limit, craving has a limit, attachment has no limits. Neither does greed have no limits. And right now, why is that taking place? Simply because of the corporate and the governmental greed that has pretty much stripped average workers of a level of compensation for their hard work, which which now they are unable to meet with their everyday expenses. So while individuals or companies or governments, society, governments, more important, or politicians, may have billions to be sent to Yemen or Saudi Arabia or to Ukraine or to any of these other different parts of the world simply to propagate and maintain a particular kind of agenda. There doesn't seem to be the same level of commitment to those individuals who are serving the country itself, particularly at the moment, teachers, carers, nurses, doctors, and so on and so forth. And what this demonstrates, the reason this is the case is because once you send money to a country for arms or your however you're doing it, it's simply a question of funding the local arms manufacturers. That's really all it's about. And the ones who benefit from that are always the politicians that are actually making these decisions. And what is the basis of this carnage that is being foisted upon humanity, whether it is energy, it is simply greed. Greed has no environment means nothing. With greed, cruelty means nothing. The fact that there are hundreds and thousands of people right now and children who are unable to afford even the basic, even a breakfast toast in the morning. And this is in the so called civilized, developed worlds. When we have elderly people who have given their lives in World War One, World War Two, trying to protect democracy, etc., who are now collecting twigs in order to heat their homes, who are now being told that they have to make do with the current situation. What is the reason for it, for all of this? And you will, if you follow it enough, you will find it is simply greed. Greed has no limitation. And because greed has no limitation, greed in its insatiability will create carnage wherever it progresses. So, what's this got to do with meditation? Well, meditation allows us to see the nature of our mind. Meditation allows us to see how we tend to be attached to particular ideas. Meditation allows us to see the functionality of our mental space. And by observation, we are able to discern. By observation, we are able to then not just discern, but respond. Hence, you will find that meditation isn't just simply about a question about health and well being. But meditation also has huge implications on how individuals act and engage with the social structures that are around them. Um, Once we begin to recognize that the nature of existence is constant change, once we begin to recognize through our meditation our own temporality, our own morality, then mortality, should I say, our own mortality, then this craving, this attachment, this constant need to just keep accumulating has some method of being limited. So, meditation is, in fact, one of the primary steps in order to deal with you have it's a mental illness. It's a mental illness which is always seeking to be satisfied by itself, satisfied through accumulation without any concern of the consequences of this pursuit. And hence, we will see now that there are parts of the world which are absolutely decimated, forests which are decimated. They're not decimated because people living there are idiots or people living in these environments are fools. They're being decimated simply to fulfill the greed of those who have more accumulated more money than they or their continuous generations will ever be able to come to some kind of a limit of that spending, or come to some kind of cessation of the wealth that they have. So, this greed that we are now consumed with, greed for power, greed for identity, greed for money, greed for food, greed for material wealth, greed for um, status, greed for prestige. All of these things have now become the disease upon which humanity is riding. The current state of a situation, the current situation that's going on with the um, challenges, with the um, earth events, with the weather changes, with the food production, with the supply chains, with the medical system, etc. All of these challenges are bringing humanity to a point where we, you, me, and everyone else will need to look at how we live our life, and need to recognize that accumulating material wealth simply for the sake of accumulation is futile, because ultimately none of this matters. None of this will make your life extendable. None of this will make you immortal. None of this is something that you can take from this life to another. None of this is going to be provide you your comforts in your heaven or in your hell or whatever other nonsense that we may believe in. So, humanity, as hard as it seems, that with the challenges that we are going through, this is the only way we're going to learn that ultimately humanity cannot eat money. Humanity cannot survive on relationships which are based on money. Humanity will need and is learning, unfortunately, the hard way, that providing their value, their trust, um, their trust, I would guess, in things that are futile, things which are temporary, is going to have a huge cost on life. For life is temporary. The life that you and I are currently experiencing is the one life, one opportunity that you have right now. And if you miss the game, you miss the game. And this moment will never, ever come back again. And what do we mean by missing the game? Well, as I've identified this, ask yourself these four questions. Number one, where have you come from? Number two, what are you? Who are you in the moment of now? Number three, where are you going? And number four, what's the point of your life? And you will find there are very, very few people who are able to answer that question, apart from those who have perhaps dedicated some of their mind, some of their time towards self inquiry, self reflection, and knowing who or what they are, or trying to discover who, what they are. For they may not have huge bank accounts, they may not have huge palaces, but what they will have is a knowing of who they are, what they are doing here, and most importantly, how to transit, how to do the transition between this life and as death approaches, how to do the transition, how to move through that transition. Meditation provides us with the understanding, guidance, and practical experience in how to transition from life to post life. And no one is exempt from this. Those who are infatuated by things at the moment will discover that the point of death or nearby, that their mind will be in a state of panic, and the mind will try and grasp all that it can, that it was grasping onto while it was alive or during life, and will discover that in no matter what it tries to grasp onto, death will still take place. Meditation is about being alive, and to be alive, one needs to recognize the temporary nature of existence right now for their life in the moment of now. So, as we move into 2023, we will see that these challenges that we are all at the moment experiencing are going to become more and more evident. And until you and I stand up for our rights, for our dignity, and have that integrity, this will keep going on. For if you give your authority to another, if you give your authority to another, then do not complain when you get abused. And right now, humanity is being abused, majority of it's being abused, harvested, and um, farmed by very few who feel that they have been given the God given right to be able to execute their agenda upon those who are innocent and those who don't know the rules of the game. So, meditation isn't just about health. Meditation actually has much deeper elements that are related to it, and those deeper elements then start to emerge as what we would call our personal ethics, which then can become part and parcel of social moral system, and therefore some harmony within life itself. Okay, so I think that's enough I want to speak about on that. Into a nice posture and closing your eyes, closing your mouth, making sure your shoulders are. And we begin with setting our intention. So, our intention is simply to be present, to be present. Yeah. No other expectation, no desire, nothing else, no need, just to be present. The back of the neck stretches. Pull your shoulders back so your chest seems open. And as you draw your breath in, bringing your focus to yourself as best as you can. All you're doing here at this moment is simply becoming present to yourself. Notice your posture. See if there's any discomfort in the posture. And if there is, adjust your posture. Second breath in, bringing your focus once again to your body as a whole. And this time we notice anything that's dominant in the body. A pain, an ache, a tightness, an itch. And if you find that there is something that draws your attention, notice where it is. No commentary, no judgment, just location. Imagine there's a hula hoop above your head. As this hoop begins to come down, it allows sensations in your bodies to be exposed. So begin with the head, allowing it to come down, scanning the top part of your body, and then scanning the lower part of your body. Again, take a moment to notice if there's anything dominant in the body that's exposed. Next breath in, bring your focus now to the chair or the floor that you're on. Notice the sensations where you make contact with your seat, allowing yourself to be held. And if you were to let go, you're not going to go anywhere. From those sensations, if you draw a breath in, bringing those focus up towards your hips, and then as you breathe out, you allow this awareness to move down your thighs, towards your knees, from your knees, gently moving down your calves of your muscles, on your calf muscles, the shin, moving towards your ankles. Notice your feet and notice the soles of your feet. Again, as best as you can. Next breath in, once again, bringing your focus to the seat you're on. Notice the back is straight and upright. So as you breathe in, you allow this awareness to gently move up your back, scanning your lower back, middle back, shoulder blades, and then coming and resting upon your shoulders. Next breath out, bringing this focus from your shoulders down to your elbows, from your elbows moving down to your wrists, notice the palms of your hands, and then notice the fingers on your hands. Bringing your focus to the tips of your hands as best as you can. Next breath in, bring your focus towards your eyes. Notice the darkness. And then as you breathe out, allowing this part of the body to soften and relax. Next breath in, bringing your focus to your mouth. Get a sense of what's going on within your mouth as best as you can. Notice the sensations on the roof of your mouth, at the back of your mouth. Sensations on the inside cheeks. Scanning your tongue from the back to the tip. Allowing it to soften. Allowing your jaw to soften. And then as you breathe out, you allow your face to soften. Next breath in, once again, becoming aware of yourself as best as you can. Again, see if you can notice anything that's dominant. Next breath in, bringing your focus to your inner space. A deliberate attempt at looking at our thoughts and how we're feeling. Bring your focus towards your thoughts. What appears to be dominating your mind at the moment? Do you feel alert or do you feel drowsy? Next breath in, bringing your focus to your chest. And we begin first by noticing the movement of the chest in rhythm with the breath, holding our focus on the surface of our chest, allowing the breath to breathe by itself, and simply observing the movement. And you may notice that as the breath moves in and the breath moves out, there may be subtle sensations within the body itself, around the ribs, around the back, and then as best as you can, bring your focus a bit deeper into yourself, right in the middle of your chest. Hold your awareness there as best as you can. And begin to notice how you're feeling. Do you feel settled, unsettled? Is this moment enough for you? Or is there something missing? On your next breath out, begin to listen to the sounds around you, allowing any sound to come to you. Not identifying them, not thinking about them, then allowing your awareness to follow the sound of this bell as far as you can. Gently bring your focus just beneath your nose and begin to notice the movement of your breath. Allowing the breath to breathe by itself. Notice the in-breath as it comes in. Start, end of your in-breath. Notice the out-breath as it goes out. Start, end of your out-breath as best as you can. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Stay with your breath. No matter how many times your focus drifts breath, notice the distraction. Bring your focus quite deliberately and firmly back to your breath. Stay with your breath. Notice how the breath breathes by itself, just as a heart beats by itself. Stay with your breath. Begin to follow your out breath all the way till the end. And as you follow your out breath, allow your body to soften and relax a little bit further, allowing you to be drawn deeper and deeper into the moment of now. Stay with your breath. Following your out breath, notice when your out breath finishes, there's a tiny little gap before the in breath begins. See if you can notice that. Stay with your breath. Stay with your breath. Notice how your breath feels now. Does it feel light or does it feel heavy? Does your breath feel long or does it feel short? Stay with your breath. Now, as best as you can, bring your focus to the sound of your breath. Try and listen to the in breath as it comes in. Try and listen to the out breath as it goes out. Stay with your breath, listening to the in breath as it comes in, listening to the out breath as it goes out. Does your in breath sound the same as your out breath? Stay with your breath. Listening intently. Very act of listening to your breath allows us to be present to the sense of self. Your next breath out, once again opening your awareness to all the sounds around you, including the sound of your breath. Listening, allowing any sound, any noise to come to you. You don't need to look for it. You don't need to work it out. When you're ready, bring your focus just within, sitting with your breath in silence. Stay with your breath. On your next breath out, expanding your awareness to include your whole body as best as you can. Notice you're still on the same seat you began. Sensations where your body makes contact with your seat. From those sensations, you can follow your focus down your thighs, from your knees moving down towards your ankles, allowing yourself to become embodied again. Notice your feet, notice your toes, notice the heel. And then, as best as you can, moving your focus to the soles of your feet. Notice your back is straight and upright. Your shoulders, arms, hands are relaxed and comfortable. Your eyes are still closed, your mouth is still closed, and your face is relaxed. Coming back to your breath. And now, as the breath comes in, you can sense as the breath goes out, you can sense your body. Breathing in, you can sense your body. Breathing out, you can sense your body. Notice the absence of any fear. Notice the absence of anxiety, of craving, of anger, and the presence of peace. The presence of calmness. When you hear the next bell, use this bell to draw a few slow, deep breaths in, and in your own good time, gently opening your eyes.